Is the Bible historical or allegorical? What the ancient really meant? What if the Bible wasn't meant to be taken literally? What if Adam, Eve, the flood, even the miracles weren't events, but codes, messages, maps for the soul? Welcome back to Astro Limitless, where we decode truth, awaken the soul, and dive into the unseen. In our last Gnostic deep dive, we explored Sophia, the divine feminine force whose fall birthed the flawed creator Yaldabaoth. And we learned that what we've been taught as God might just be a shadow of the true source. So today, we ask, if Sophia and Yaldabaoth are missing from mainstream scripture, what else is hidden beneath the surface? Let's go beyond the page. Because when you stop reading the Bible as a history book and start reading it as a soul manual, it transforms everything. Why the literal lens fails? Let's begin here. If the Bible is taken literally, if there are contradictions, impossibilities, and deeply problematic messages. The talking snakes, global floods, a 6,000-year-old earth, a God who loves yet demands fear. Many scholars, spiritual and academic alike, agree much of it doesn't add up. But what if the issue isn't the stories themselves, but how we read them? Gnostic, Kabbalistic, and mystical traditions all agree. These texts are veiled, symbolic, multi-layered. Even Paul writes in Galatians 4:24, these things may be taken figuratively. The early mystics knew these weren't history lessons. They were mythic templates, tools to understand consciousness, awakening, and a cosmic journey of the soul. Eden, the mind, not a garden. Take the Garden of Eden. On the surface, a paradise lost due to disobedience. But through the allegorical lens, Adam is the conscious mind. Eve, the intuitive, receptive nature. Serpent, the awakening force. Fruit, knowledge of duality. The fall wasn't a sin, it was a shift in awareness. A descent from unity into polarity, from divine mind into the material experience. That's why many Gnostic texts call the serpent as a liberator, not a deceiver, a symbol of awakening. The flood, inner purification. What if Noah's Ark wasn't about animals 2 by 2, but about surviving the emotional storms of life? In esoteric traditions, water symbolizes the subconscious. The ark is the vessel of inner alignment. The flood is a cleansing, like baptism. It's a symbolic death and rebirth, not of bodies, but old paradigms. It's not about God punishing humanity. It's about the soul purging illusions to evolve. Jesus, the Christ within. Now, this is where it gets potent. Was Jesus a real person? Maybe. But the deeper power lies not in whether he walked to earth, but what he represents. In Gnostic text, Jesus is a symbol of the awakened soul. The virgin birth is the soul birthing higher awareness without ego. The crucifixion is the ego's death. The resurrection is the realization of divine nature. Christ is not just one man, it's a consciousness you access when you transcend the illusion. So why they made it literal? So why did it all get flattened into literalism? Because metaphor empowers, but literalism controls. A symbolic text makes you ask questions, seek within, expand, but in a literal doctrine, it gives external authority, creates fear of questioning, makes spirituality about obedience, not experience. The Gnostics were hunted and erased for this very reason. They taught people to seek the light within, not worship blindly without. Real history versus inner myth. Here's the nuance. Some things in the Bible do reflect historical events: the destruction of cities, ancient empires, natural disasters. But even those were written with layers of meaning. The mistake is thinking that only the physical matters. That's what Yaldabaoth wants, blindness to the higher. Gnosis says, history is just the outer shell. The real story is what's happening in your spirit. The hidden feminine voice. But let's not forget, much was removed. Books like the Gospel of Mary, Thomas, and Philip were excluded. Sophia, the divine feminine, was buried beneath male-dominated narratives. Why? Because the awakening of the feminine, intuition, knowing, and rebellion, threatens structures built on control. Your soul is the true scripture. Here's the wildest idea. You don't need external scripture to awaken. You are the living text. Your life is a parable. Your wounds are the wilderness. Your breakthrough is the resurrection. The Bible, like all sacred books, is a mirror. What you see in it is what you're ready to see in yourself. My take? Well, when I stopped trying to make the Bible make sense logically and started reading it symbolically, everything changed. It became alive, moving, relevant. Not because it told me what to believe, but because it challenged me to go deeper. I realized that I didn't need to throw it away. I just needed to decode it. And in doing so, I found echoes of Sophia, the serpent, the divine child, the inner Christ, all within me. So now I ask you, what if the stories that once enslaved you are the same ones that can set you free? If this resonates, comment below. What scripture hit you differently after awakening? What metaphor opened your eyes? And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Astra Limitless. Dive deeper in the Gnostic Wisdom playlist and awaken what was always yours. This is Astra, and this is your Gnostic Deep Dive, where we don't just scratch the surface, we dig into the very roots of belief, control, and truth. And if you've ever questioned the system, the scriptures, or even your reality, you're in the right place. See you in the next unveiling.